Welcome to the Handcuffs of Fate, a tale of mystery, power, and destiny. This story begins on a battlefield like no other, a place where the line between ordinary and extraordinary blurs, and where the boundaries of fate and free will are tested. What starts as a journey through chaos and destruction quickly transforms into a deeper exploration of human strength, unseen forces, and the choices we make when faced with the unknown. At its heart, this story asks, what defines true power? Is it the ability to destroy, or the resolve to bring order to the chaos? Through each chapter, you will follow one person's surreal encounter with three mysterious figures capable of unimaginable destruction. With each confrontation, deeper questions arise about responsibility, courage, and the unseen forces that guide us. Whether this story speaks to you as an allegory of inner strength, a cautionary tale about power, or simply a gripping narrative, I invite you to journey through this world and discover the handcuffs of fate for yourself. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. Disclaimer. This is a work of fiction. Any similarities to actual events, people, or places are purely coincidental. The story contains themes of violence, power, and existential struggle, which may be unsettling to some readers. The narrative explores complex moral and philosophical questions through a fictional lens. It is intended to provoke thought and inspire reflection, not to endorse any particular viewpoint or action. Reader discretion is advised. The field stretched out before me, an endless expanse of death and destruction. The once vibrant landscape was now a wasteland, littered with dead bodies. Ordinary civilians, mighty athletes, and seasoned soldiers, all lay lifeless, their weapons scattered around them. The air reeked of blood and burnt metal, a haunting reminder of the brutal battle that had taken place. I stood frozen in place, my mind struggling to comprehend the scene before me. How could so many have fallen? And to whom? Or what? Then my gaze shifted. In the middle of this sea of carnage stood three men. They looked like ordinary people, dressed simply, without armor or weapons. But there was something unsettling about them. Despite the devastation around them, they remained calm, unmoved by the horror they had caused. These three men had done the unthinkable. With just a wave of their hands, they had brought an entire army to its knees. I could see it in the bodies that surrounded them, men who had once stood strong, now crumpled on the ground, lifeless. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream. But something held me in place, a force stronger than fear. It was as if I was meant to be there, to witness this. Suddenly, a whisper echoed in my ear. Go to the first man. Handcuff him. The voice was steady and calm, cutting through the chaos like a blade. It wasn't a suggestion, it was a command. And somehow, I knew I had to obey. I glanced down and saw the handcuffs dangling from my belt. They were simple, unremarkable, the kind you'd see any officer carrying. But in this moment, they felt like the most important tool in the world. I took a deep breath and started walking toward the first man. My footsteps crunched against the dirt and debris beneath me. Each step felt heavier, as if I were wading through the weight of destiny itself. The first man stood still, watching me approach. His expression was unreadable, neither fear nor curiosity. He simply waited. As I reached him, I hesitated. Would he resist? Would he strike me down before I even had a chance? But he didn't move. Slowly, I reached for his right arm. He allowed me to pull it behind his back. Then I took his left arm, binding both wrists together with the handcuffs. As soon as the cuffs clicked into place, the man's legs buckled. He crumpled to the ground, as if the simple act of restraint had drained all his power. For a moment, I stood there, staring at him in disbelief. He had been unstoppable moments ago. Now, he was utterly helpless. The voice spoke again. Now, the second man. I turned my gaze toward the second man. He was standing a few feet away, watching intently. His expression mirrored that of the first man, calm, composed, as if he knew what was coming. Without a word, I began walking toward him. My hands trembled slightly, but I kept moving forward. The handcuffs on my belt clinked softly with each step. When I reached him, he remained still. His gaze never wavered. I took hold of his arm, just as I had with the first man, and secured the cuffs around his wrists. As the metal locked into place, the second man's demeanor changed. His eyes widened in shock, as if he couldn't believe what had just happened. He looked around, taking in the battlefield, the fallen bodies, and the silence. "How?" he murmured, more to himself than to me. I had no answer for him. I was just as bewildered as he was. Then the voice returned. "The third man. Be careful. He bathed in sulfur waiting for you." The third man exuded a presence unlike the others. His aura was both mesmerizing and terrifying. He continued to pace back and forth, the remnants of his power flickering across his skin like dying embers. Despite his calm demeanor, there was a palpable tension in the air, a storm waiting to be unleashed. I watched him carefully, taking in every detail. His torso glistened with sweat, and his muscles twitched with barely restrained energy. The sulfuric scent lingered, a pungent reminder of the warning I had received. He knew I was watching him. His eyes met mine, filled with curiosity and something darker, an understanding that he was the last to be subdued. Suddenly, he stopped pacing. His lips curled into a faint smirk as he began walking toward me. There was no fear in his steps, only certainty. The voice returned, steady, and unwavering. "Let him come to you. He will offer his hands." As the man approached, I stood my ground. My hands tightened around the handcuffs, ready for what was to come. The man stopped a few feet away and extended his arms, palms facing me. His eyes locked on mine, challenging me to complete my task. Without hesitation, I stepped forward and clasped the handcuffs around his wrists. The moment they clicked shut, the air around us shifted. The lightning disappeared, the tension dissipated, and the storm brewing within him faded into silence. The third man lowered his head, a shadow of defeat crossing his features. He spoke for the first time. "You don't know what you've done." His voice was soft yet filled with both sorrow and a hint of warning. Silence fell over the battlefield. The once deafening chaos had been replaced by an eerie calm. The three men were subdued, their powers stripped away by the simple act of restraint. I stood among the fallen, the weight of what had transpired pressing heavily on my shoulders. The voice in my ear had fallen silent, leaving me alone with my thoughts. Had I done the right thing? The battlefield was a graveyard, a testament to the destructive power these men had wielded. But in their defeat, a new question arose: what now? I looked down at the handcuffs, the metal gleaming faintly in the dim light. They were ordinary, yet they had accomplished the extraordinary. What force had guided me? What power had whispered in my ear? The third man's words echoed in my mind. "You don't know what you've done." Had I prevented further destruction, or had I set something even darker in motion? As I stood there, lost in thought, a faint breeze stirred the air. It carried with it a whisper, faint, almost imperceptible. "Fate is not done with you yet." I shivered, feeling the weight of those words. The journey was far from over. The handcuffs of fate had bound more than just the three men. They had bound me to a destiny I was only beginning to understand.